Enjoy reading the story on Manga Funny channel.
In the previous episode, we left off with Lin Chi and Ashun discussing how the Empress disguised herself as a eunuch to try seducing the Emperor. Let's continue following the story from there. The Emperor thought, "What were you saying just now?" "Oof, I bet you've been influenced by that woman. You've gone mad too." Then he said, "Handle it as the Queen commands." After that, he left. Deshan said, "The Empress is truly majestic." The Empress thought, "I'm totally lost." At that moment, a guard asked the Empress, "Your Majesty, do you wish to see these people punished, or?" She replied, "No need, just take them away for punishment. I don't want to see." The guard obeyed and carried out the Empress's orders. She thought, watching a punishment is nothing special, just wailing and a bit of blood. It's noisy and annoying, and I've seen too much of it in my past life. At that time, Lu Liu hurried over to the Empress asking, "Your Highness, what's going on? Are you injured?" The Empress replied that she was fine, while Lu Liu stood protectively in front of her and said to Hui, "Aren't you leaving?" Hui said, "Today, you might think you've won over me, but don't get smug, Your Highness. The Emperor's harem has 3,000 women. Today his heart is with you, but tomorrow it might be with another sister." The Empress said, "Consort Hui, just look after yourself. There's no need for you to worry about me." The Empress thought, "Today? Tomorrow? Whomever Xuanyuan Ying favors is none of my concern. All I want is his imperial essence." We said, "Your Highness, you've changed since your fall into the water. It's unavoidable. Do you think others can't see, or that the Emperor hasn't noticed? Time in the palace is long. I'll surely reclaim his heart. Just wait and see." Hui's words made the Empress think. Emperors have always been fickle, yet these women refused to believe it, like moths flying into flames. Such a pity, such a pity. Lu Liu hurriedly asked, "Your Highness, are you truly all right?" The Empress replied, "Don't worry, I'm very well. I want to rest for a while. If anything happens, come and call me, understood?" Lu Liu said, "I understand, Your Highness." Meanwhile, in the palace, the Emperor pondered over the Empress's words. "So, will you agree with me?" As he tapped his fingers on the table, he thought, since her fall into the water, her personality has really changed. Or has she always been waiting for Lindsay? Is that it? Suddenly, he called out, "Your Majesty." Deshan rushed in. "Do you have any orders?" The Emperor said to Deshan, "The Queen has been frail since her fall into the water. I'm worried she's lonely, so I've approved for the Qin family to visit her in the palace." Deshan replied, "The Empress unwell? She was happily dancing just 2 days ago." The Emperor angrily rebuked, "Do you object?" Deshan quickly replied, "This servant wouldn't dare. I'll make the arrangements immediately." The Emperor thought, whether she's truly well or not, I'm unsure. But it seems her fall into the water cured her blindness, and she no longer chases Lin Si. No one knows Qin Yao better than the Qin family. If she truly is Qin Yao, she'll slip up in front of them. Meanwhile, the Empress was napping until the afternoon when Lu Liu woke her up. "Your Highness? Your Highness, please wake up." The Empress asked, "What's the matter? Why are you so cheerful?" Lu Liu said it was good news. The Emperor had approved for the Qin family to visit her in the palace. The Empress jolted up in shock. "What?" Lu Liu said, "Hurry, Your Highness. The Qin family is in front of the palace." The Empress thought, Lu Liu may be foolish, but the Qin family isn't. Let me think of how to handle them. I'm practically their ancestor. You could say that. As her mother rushed into the palace and called her, "Daughter," she embraced her tightly. Her mother said, "My daughter, you've worked so hard." At that moment, her father and mother greeted her, but she quickly said, No need for formalities." She thought, this is getting worse. In my entire life, I've never experienced familial affection. So how do I handle this heartwarming family scene? "Help," she said. "Father, mother, please be seated." Outside, they heard a voice announce, "The Emperor has arrived," which made her family look on in surprise. She thought, Why is he joining in the commotion? Preview of the next episode. Seize the moment for some fun. In the presence of our parents, I genuinely feel like murdering him. In front of our parents, I'm curious to see what kind of chaos this lady can cause next. Yes, I do want to be with him, but after so many years, this is the first time someone has been this close to me. It makes me want to kill him. In the previous episode, we reached the part where the emperor allowed the Qingyao family to enter the palace for a meeting. Now, let's continue with the story. At this time, the Empress's family greeted the emperor, saying, "Greetings, your majesty." He replied, "Get up." Every time she sees me, she acts all coquettish, throwing herself at me. Such formality nowadays is somewhat unsettling for me. Her father told him, "Your majesty, as a mother, I have failed in my duties. My daughter has been absurd in the past. If she has offended the imperial majesty, I beg for your forgiveness." She thought, "What did I do? Is he talking about the matter with the national preceptor?" The emperor said, "Look at how absurd you used to be." She thought, "Why is he looking at me like that? To be fair, I'm not the one who cuckolded you. I was just after your dragon aura." The emperor told her father, "My beloved official, rise. The Empress has done nothing overstepping lately." Her father replied, "Thank you, your majesty." At this time, the emperor sat down, and as she approached, he thought, "In front of my parents, no less. I'd like to see how this woman stirs up trouble next." Before he could finish, she found herself sitting on his lap without realizing it. He said, "How dare you?" She thought, "Mom and Dad, what do you think?" After thinking, she pulled his face close and whispered, "Ever since I fell into the lake and became unconscious, amidst my hazy, half-asleep state, I received enlightenment from a bodhisattva. Upon waking, it was like an epiphany struck me, leaving only your majesty in my heart." This made the emperor want to play along with her act in front of everyone. He said, "The empress speaks truthfully. In my heart, there is only her," and wrapped his arm around her waist. This surprised both her father and mother, who thought, "My daughter? And the emperor? Since when did their relationship get so good?" Then she thought, "Hasn't he always disliked me getting close to him? Did he take the wrong medicine today? Or has he gone completely mad? I do want to sleep with him, yes. But it's been so many years, and this is the first time someone has gotten this close. I just want to kill him." While she was thinking, he asked, "Yao Yao, why aren't you speaking? Are you shy because your parents and the others are here?" She felt embarrassed and thought, "You insignificant descendant, let go of your ancestor." Then he leaned in and said, "And here I thought you were capable of so much. I'm just returning the favor in kind." She panicked and pulled away, but he seized the moment and said, "This panic, it's quite amusing. It makes one want to tease you more." She responded, "Your Majesty, my parents are still here." He compared her to a cat and laughed. "Seeing you like this, Empress, reminds me of a cat that was offered up by Persia some days ago." She replied, "Haha, is that so?" But in her mind she thought, "How dare you compare me to a cat? If it weren't for the other people here, I would strangle you right now, believe it or not. I'm not mad, I'm truly not. I'm of such an age, why argue with the younger generation?" Qin ancestor Yao smiling. Then she replied to him, "What? Your Majesty, are you saying you want to eat the little fish treats I feed to my cat at home?" But those are for my cat." She thought, "Score one for me, heh." After getting played by her, he thought, "This woman, she really hates being at a disadvantage." She waved to her parents and said, "Mom, Dad, you've heard as well. The Emperor wishes to have dried small fish. It looks like I'll have to trouble you to rush our daughter's dried small fish from home into the palace." Her parents asked for permission to leave, as it was getting late. All right, it's getting late. My spouse and I will take our leave now." She stood up and saw them off, leaving him with the thought, "Since I've truly upset her today anyway, let her have her moment of pride." Dried small fish, so be it. Dried small fish it is. She said, Mom, Dad, let me see you out. When the carriage departed, she let out a sigh of relief. Phew, it was close, but I kept my cover. But as she opened the door to go back in, she bumped right into the Emperor, causing her to cry out in pain. Then he asked her, Is the Empress pleased with my actions just now? She smiled and replied, Your concubine is naturally satisfied, but thought, You, insolent junior, if it weren't for the Emperor Green behind you, today I would definitely let you experience the tender care of the ancestors, you. He turned back and said, If you are satisfied, then I shall return to the palace. When he was about to leave, she grabbed his clothes and gave him a surprise kiss. He responded by wrapping his arms around her waist, but suddenly she bit him, causing him to push her away. He wiped the blood from his lip and looked at her. She replied, Emperor, this way. Your concubine is even more satisfied.